Hi, my name's Stacey and welcome to the Book Nook. Today we'll be going through some unpopular bookish opinions. So the first unpopular bookish opinion is going to be a big one. And I know a lot of people really enjoy this book and this author, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the Atlas 6. For me, I'm going to be a bit mean about it. It felt a little bit pretentious. There was a lot of quite boring, dare I say it, philosophical musings. It was a lot of vibes and not tons of plot for me. I did enjoy quite a lot of it. I enjoyed the morally grey or just terrible characters. I enjoyed that part. I enjoyed some of the magic. But for me, it wasn't quite for me, which is a shame because this is absolutely beautiful. And my boyfriend actually got it for me for Christmas. Or was it my birthday? It might be my birthday. So I don't want to get rid of it. But it just wasn't for me. Saying that, I did give it 3 stars because it did have some merit. But on reflection, I probably should have given it 2. Oh well. So the next unpopular opinion is that I don't enjoy audiobooks for the most part. My problem with it is that I can't get it through my system if they don't have the same accent as me. Because when I read in my head, I just think about it in my accent. Everything is said in my voice. So when the story is told by someone who is American, and I'm picturing it as probably being set in the UK, unless it's like really obvious it isn't. If it's fantasy, then I need to have an English accent, which is so weird. Saying that, there are some that I don't mind. Like if it's really obviously set in a certain place, then they will obviously have that accent. But generally, I don't get on with them. The other thing that I really hate is when people do the voices, and sometimes the voice is just grate on me. So, prime example of this is I started reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo on audiobook. As soon as the voice for Kaz Brecker happened, I stopped. I could not get along with that voice. That just killed it for me. And then I read the book and really enjoyed it. So there you go. It wasn't the book, it was just that I could not stand the audio. Unpopular opinion number 3 is that I am not a smart person. Smart is not for me. I get really uncomfortable reading that kind of stuff. Just some of the descriptions are really off-putting. Like, it kind of grosses me out a little bit, I've got to be honest. That might have something to do with the fact that I am ace. So, I mean, it's generally not for me anyway. I won't put too much about my own relationships on there. But, I don't know, I prefer a fade to black. And smart isn't something that I would go for. I don't mind a sex scene as long as it's done well. Number 4. Another book that I didn't enjoy that a lot of people seem to, that I still have, is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I have the beautiful Fairy Loot edition. It's gorgeous, but it was not my favourite. I liked the setting, I liked the ideas of it, but the execution wasn't for me. And also, by extension, and by reading this book, I realised this. I hate Romeo and Juliet retellings. I just hate them. Maybe it was something to do with studying Romeo and Juliet in school and like overexposure, but I hate them. I hate them so much. Um, Ironically, I just read another one that was a Romeo and Juliet retelling, so there we go. That one actually wasn't too bad though. If anyone's interested, that was An Arrow to the Moon by, I want to say, Emily X.R. Pan. It's also a Chinese mythology retelling, which is probably why I enjoyed it. Number 5. I find classics mostly very tedious. The kind of language used, I just don't find it easy to get through. I'm currently reading Flowers for Algernon, and although it was only written in, I think, I want to say the 50s, maybe, something like that, some of the language used I can't get on with. There's a lot of tangents and things that I just don't think are necessary, and that's quite a feature of classic literature. They do go off on tangents. Another prime example of this is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. There we go. He goes off on a lot of tangents, and to me, it's just too much. I just want a straightforward book. I want a straightforward plot with things that make sense that they're in it. Number 6 is that I love ebooks. Ebooks are my jam. It's just so easy to read things on an e-reader, and then you can buy books for like 99p on Amazon all the time. There's so many deals on. It just makes so much sense to me. Like obviously I love my bookshelf, but e-readers and ebooks are so easy, and the things I borrow from Libby will always be ebooks, although I'm trying some audiobooks. We'll see how that goes. But they'll be ebooks. I won't go to the library and get a book, because first of all, that is effort, but second of all, I like an ebook anyway. Number 7. Negative reviews are good. So what I mean by this is that when I go on, say, Goodreads and look up a book that I'm interested in, or just see a book on there, I will quite often go straight to the negative reviews. Like, I'll skim over the synopsis and then go to the negative reviews, because I find that sometimes if I look in there and they say, oh, you didn't see much of the characters' backstories, or this was too fast paced, or something like that, I know that I'll probably enjoy it because I love a good action packed book. And yeah, certain things that people say on it, like if they say slow pacing, or if they say certain tropes, then you know that you'll probably actually enjoy that book, even though they didn't like it. But also, it's good constructive criticism, and you kind of know what you're getting into. But I do try not to read reviews before the books, but I'll have the odd browse. Number 8. I have absolutely zero interest in authors like Sarah J. Maas, Ali Hazelwood, Sally Rooney, and Colleen Hoover. And I know they're huge, and a lot of people really enjoy their books, but they just don't sound like my kind of books. I already said about the not really enjoying smut, so I feel like I probably. Oh, and I don't enjoy reading abusive relationships. I don't mind it, but if I know there's abusive relationships in the story, then I will avoid it. So people like Sarah J. Maas and Sally Rooney and Colleen Hoover all have those kind of things, as far as I'm aware. And Ali Hazelwood has smut, and also, I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me. Opinion number 9. I believe that rereading, you should only save it for really special books. Well, I only save it for really special books. Because the way I see it is that there's so many books in the world, so many books that I want to read. Honestly, the want to read section of my Goodreads is ridiculous. Instead of rereading books I've already read, I will, let's say it's for a series, I'll just, if I don't remember it, just Google it, see what happened in the first book, continue with the second one. That's fine, don't need to reread. But usually my memory is pretty good, and once I get into that second book, I'll remember what happened in the previous one. But I will only ever reread old favourites, or I'll reread after X amount of years, because I won't really remember what's happened in those books then. And I'm quite interested in rereading some of the old books, so we'll see how that goes, because I do want to do that at some point. Even though I just said that I only reserve it for special books. But I do want to reread House in the Cerulean Sea, which I only read last year, so I guess it counts as a special book. Opinion number 10 is that you are never too old for a good YA or middle grade. The emphasis there is on good, because some of them are a bit iffy. But if they're good, and a lot of them are, they've got good plots, good relationships. Some of the middle grades, to be honest, are really pushing boundaries, which is amazing. So I really think that they're nice, easy reads, and you can get a lot out of them. So why would you just say, oh, you're too old for that? You are only allowed to read adult books. That just makes zero sense to me. Number 11. I like to know very little about a book before reading it. I do skim synopses. Let's say for the Stardust Thief, which is right behind me. So I skimmed that, and I thought, it's got gin, it's got an adventure, it's based on 1001 Nights. That's all I need to know. I know that I will read that book and probably really enjoy it. And I did, by the way. I gave that book 5 stars. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Number, I don't know what number it is. It's number 12, I think, possibly. Here's one for the Hunger Games fans. I actively despised Katniss Everdeen when I read that book. I hated her. I thought she was ridiculous, and I did not see why she should get Gale or Peter. However, I do agree that she should. Peter was better. You can come at me in the comments, but I do think Peter is better. Maybe it's just because that would definitely be the kind of person that I would have been personally more attracted to at the point when I read it. Sorry, I just saw a bird right next to the window. Yeah, I just thought she was an awful character. But I loved those books when I read them, which was quite a while ago now. Yeah, I really enjoyed the books, so I kept on reading them even though I absolutely hated her. So that's all of my unpopular bookish opinions. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! That's a weird way to put it, I'm sorry. Let's move on, shall we?